Well, my friends, this is a Starry vlog. And doesn't this look familiar? I have been in this garden all week. All week. And I should have brought you all along. When I first got in this garden, it was filled with weeds. Horrible, horrible, horrible weeds like this. And what I started to do was I asked my brother what he really needed done first. And he says, I need the garden. And I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of things that we need to do besides the garden, right? A lot of things. The house needs to be finished. There's things that are falling down around here. But it was his request. It was his request. And for me, even though you know, I've been having some increased pain with a lot of this type of work, it has been a blessing for me, and now it's going to be a blessing for my brother. Just getting back in the garden has been a healing for me. So I wanted to kind of share what I've done, and then just today, my niece Ashley and her husband Austin came and joined me in the garden, and it was so wonderful because I was kind of feeling like my brother, kind of overwhelmed with all of this, but we got her done, and there's very little weeding that really needs to take place. But look at the bees. The bees that are just flourishing. We got raspberry bushes. You know, look at the dog. Yeah, their dog loves the garden. Kind of reminds me of Sprig when I used to kneel in my garden and do all of my work on the homestead, and Sprig would be right there with me, right beside me. And he never left my side. He would burrow in. You see from my videos, he would burrow into the garden, and I missed that. But God is bringing me a different garden to work on, and this is where I'm at now in Wisconsin, working on this garden. But this was all filled with grass, and we pulled this all up. And you know, when it comes to raspberry bushes, you can kind of just let them grow. You're going to see a lot of suckers that come out from those raspberry bushes, but for the most part, you don't need to do much with raspberry bushes. One thing is, he did get some. It's a type of wood chip that was really filled with pine needles, and raspberries do like a little bit of acidity, so I was able to put some of those wood chips on there, and we got that done when I first got here, as you can see. And he also has blueberry bushes. And there's Mario guarding the garden also. Now, all his vine plants, the other day I put up a fencing here. He wanted a little bit taller and a little bit shorter. And, you know, the vines already have gotten away, but that's okay. He's already got the flowers on there. And you know that you can take the male and female flower, you know, the flower, and you can pollinate yourself. But he's got so many bees around here and butterflies that it's looking, I mean, it's looking great. So I don't really need to do any extra steps with pollinating. Now, my big chore, which I started, was this, all his tomato plants. And tomatoes, if you want the best out of your tomatoes, and this is, Ashley didn't know this because she asked me, she's like, what do you mean you're taking off all the suckers? Well, most seasoned gardeners know that the suckers need to come off of the tomato plant, and these are the extra branches that just don't belong there, that are actually sapping the energy from the fruit that it's trying to produce. And all of these were just a jungle. So I sat out here, and in fact there's still lots of suckers on here. I sat out here for hours, and it's been pretty hot, trying to get all the suckers off of these plants. And some of these also had blight. Now, blight, you don't want that in your garden. And as soon as I saw the blight, you got to take it completely out of your garden. You get rid of the plants that have it, you get rid of the leaves, and then you immediately remove it because it can contaminate everything. But you see how I'm just picking off these are suckers. And that way everything can go into the fruit. But I also staked all his tomato plants too, and also got rid of all the weeds, as many weeds as I could around it. But they're looking much better, and I think he's going to have a really great tomato patch this year. I mean, isn't this just therapy? I mean, this is therapy. He's got beautiful broccoli over here, and I don't know if you friends understand, or some of you probably do, but he was kind of disappointed that it went to seed so fast, and it's been hot. See, today it's it's that hot in the sun. And of course these flower, but I always say don't despair. You can pick the flowers off your broccoli and you can eat them. You can eat them raw, or you can put them in your salads. See? They have a really great taste. They're really good. But I was over there also in his asparagus patch, you see, and things are getting a little wilty. We won't water now. You don't want to water in high heat, but we saw that his beets this morning, when we were getting the rest of the weeds out of there, were getting a little bit droopy. But you may be asking, why doesn't my brother do the Back to Eden garden? Well, I have been trying to convince him, and I said, don't you watch my videos? No, he don't watch my videos. I said, I'm all over the YouTube when it comes to Back to Eden gardening. In fact, I was probably one of the pioneers. I mean, Paul Gaushi, it was all him. And then I really believe I was one of the very first homesteads off the grid that went full out with Back to Eden garden, and that's where I really established myself. And my garden proof was in the pudding with my gardening. And then, a lot of people followed suit, and they found out how valuable that method is. So I went on a little scouting mission the other day with him. He says, I think I know where some wood chips are. And I found some, and I'm going to go out in the evening once we get his truck unhauled. He's got a lot of sand in it right now. And I'm going to go see if I'm up to getting some wood chips. I'll probably get some help from the rest of the family. And because they all agreed, the weeds are going to come back. The weeds are going to come back. They're going to come back. They do. And this is a labor that is not of love anymore, because who wants to spend hours and hours in the garden getting rid of all the weeds? That's not what its purpose is. It should bring joy and peace, right? Joy and peace and contentment, and be something that nourishes us. This is not nourishing. This is taxing him out. This is giving him unrest and anxiety. So we get it all cleaned up, and now we're going to get some wood chips. And I will bring you along for that. It's kind of like me starting over here. All right, there's Mario.